Hi, I'm Dan Smith of DPS Legal Counsel, and welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be talking about something that's really important for any small business that deals with the public in selling goods or services, which is most small businesses. If you have contracts that you use, form contracts that you use to provide your goods and services, you have to be careful not to include certain provisions. And the reason for that is that there is a statute, a federal statute that came into effect in 2016 called the Consumer Review Fairness Act of 2016, or the CRFA. I'm looking at my notes a little bit because I want to make sure I get this correct. Today, the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, filed 3 complaints against 3 different companies. And these are not giant companies that they filed these complaints against. These are small companies that violated, or at least allegedly violated, the complaints have been filed, so allegedly violated the CRFA, or the Consumer Review Fairness Act. So before I get into these complaints that were filed by the FTC today, let's talk a bit about what the CRFA provides. And what it does is it makes it a federal, there's a federal law that prohibits companies that sell goods or services to include in their form contracts a provision that prohibits or limits their customers from disparaging or giving bad reviews of the company. So you can't put in your contract, your form contract, a provision that restricts or limits your customers from saying bad things about you online and social media or giving you a bad review. That is prohibited by the CRFA. And what these companies allegedly did in these complaints filed today by the FTC is include in their contracts provisions that would limit or restrict their customers from saying bad things or giving bad reviews or disparaging the company. And you just can't do that. Now, I'm going to look at my notes because I want to make sure I get this right. There are 3 different companies today that were involved in these complaints that were filed. The first one is a company that provides electric heating and cooling services. And it had in its contract an agreement that the customer would not file any kind of complaint with the Better Business Bureau. And it provided in their contract, if that happened, a penalty on the customer that could have been about 2 times what the contract price was for the services being provided to the customer. That was the first situation today that the FTC filed a complaint. The second one was against a flooring company that provided flooring services to its customers. And it provided in its contract that the customer would not publicly disparage in any way or through any medium the company. And it provided for a penalty of up to 3 times the contract price if that was violated. The third one was a company that provides recreational horseback riding services. And it's actually located in Las Vegas. This one had a lot of different things in their contract. Essentially, it provided, for example, that customers would not call animal control if they saw a discrepancy in the way the animals were treated at the company. It also said that customers would not provide negative information in writing or orally about the company, and in fact prohibited customers from giving the company anything but a 5-star review if they decided to review the company. At least they could not give a public review on one of the websites where you could publicly review the company of less than 5 stars. I think it did provide for a mechanism for reviewing the company in a less public way, less than 5 stars. But essentially it provided for a restriction, so the company, you couldn't say anything bad about the company, and you couldn't leave less than a a public 5-star review of the company. And it provided damages or penalties for violating some of these provisions that were, for example, if there was a lawsuit involving this violation, $20,000 at the initiation of the suit, $20,000 during the suit itself, and then $20,000 at the end of the suit. So these are the 3 complaints that were filed by the FTC today. And what you can take from this is that if you are a small business owner, an entrepreneur, and you're providing goods or services, you don't want people to say bad things about you, but you have to be careful and not include provisions in your contract that actually limit or restrict your customers from saying bad things. I mean, it's the age we live in that people are going to complain online and social media, whatever, about companies they deal with if they're not happy with the goods or services. And you don't like that, but there really is not a good mechanism for restricting or limiting that other than do your best to provide great services and great goods to your customers. If you provide a provision or include a provision in your contracts that limits or restricts your customers from providing disparaging, negative comments about your company, you're going to be in violation of the Consumer Review Fairness Act. And as you can see today, the FTC takes this seriously. 3 complaints filed just today against relatively small local companies. So I'm going to provide a little more information about the complaints on my website today, but I wanted to get this video out to you today so you could hear this and take from it what you ought to for your business. So I hope this helps, and we'll talk to you next time. Thanks.